Are you into ARPGs, but tired of the Stone Age setting? Ever wished synthetic had more lasting upgrades, so your hard-earned guns and gear actually stuck around? Well, then meet Cybercorp. A top-down looter shooter set in a dystopian future, where mega corporations pull the strings, unlike nowadays. In this future, men have gotten so weak from sitting around in VR headsets all day that they have to use remote control combat shells called synths to do the heavy lifting. Unlike in Ready Player One, these shells actually exist in the real world. Think more of a drone pilot rather than a VR superhero. Even though Cybercorp recently dropped into early access, it's already packing a full storyline with 15 main missions. I won't spoil anything, but let's be honest, if you've played any Cyberpunk game ever, you've probably got a pretty good idea of what's coming. Let's just say this, the story is solid enough to keep you engaged and keep fighting through the missions. And at the current final boss, it hints at more content to come. Now let's talk about what makes this game tick. The combat. Cybercorp really shines here. It's obvious that the devs put a lot of effort into the moment-to-moment gameplay. You will be slicing, dicing and shooting your way through waves of enemies. And it feels good. There is even a combo meter like Devil May Cry has, that rewards stylish play with faster reloads and better survival chances, until some self-destructing robot decides to take you down a notch. The game has a wide range of weapons to try, from your standard rifles and shotguns to laser cannons or even drones. Pair these with 3 item slots, each with 4 rarity tiers, and skill slots featuring turrets, damage waves, ice dashes and more, and you've got yourself a proper arsenal. Additionally, you have the sword, which has its uses for clearing out hordes of smaller enemies, but its true strength is in the execution moves. When the F button prompt pops up, you can pull off a finisher. And you will not only get a cool animation, but also triggering different perks that are on your sword, like getting health back, all while being immune to damage. It's an absolute lifesaver on higher difficulties. Additionally, you can unlock and dye all of your items for free in between missions, something I really appreciate in loot-based games like this. I was actually surprised by how much content is packed into the game already, but the balance is definitely off. Take for example this assault rifle that kept dropping for me. It practically carried me through most of the game. Meanwhile, other weapons, like this pistol, of the same rarity, couldn't even come close in damage output. The same goes for skills. For example, the turret is a lifesaver for drawing aggro while dishing out damage, to the point that I hardly used anything else. So I really hope the devs tweak some of the underwhelming options instead of nerfing what is already good. Because I really want to try out different builds, like a revolver gunslinger. And if I could give any advice to the devs of this game, or the devs of any top-down shooters, it's this. Make your weapon feedback feel like Synthetic 1 and 2. Those games nailed it.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Visually, Cybercorp nails the neon-soaked, high-tech vibe of a cyberpunk dystopia. With moody alleys, glowing neon signs, and sleek tech designs, the game's world feels both grimy and futuristic. Also, the low-poly art style manages to avoid that acid flip look and helps the game run smoothly, even on the Steam Deck and lower end PCs. So it's a good mix that should age well. The game's audio fits right in with its cyberpunk setting, offering up synth-heavy beats that keep the adrenaline pumping during battles. The theme music in your base also sets the tone nicely before you head out on missions. But when it comes to weapon sounds, things get a little disappointing. Some guns, like the assault and sniper rifles, have a satisfying bang to them. But others, especially the lasers, sound more like toy guns. A bit more oomph would go a long way. Unlike many early access games, Cybercorp already feels pretty fleshed out. It's got a full main story, a variety of side activities, and tons of gear and skills to grind for. You can even fine-tune your loadout at the Forge, like upgrading your items or skills, or inserting different cards with special effects into them, which allows you to tackle even harder difficulty levels, like Hard or Nightmare. And we even already got seasonal events like the Halloween one. Plus the developers seem committed, regularly updating the game based on player feedback. Yes, it's early access, so there are a few bugs here and there, but nothing that completely breaks the game. And if you do find yourself stuck in a corner somewhere, there is even an unstuck button in the menu, which is a nice touch. Overall, Cybercorp is a refreshing take on top-down shooters. I really want to see more ARPGs that don't rely on the same old medieval fantasy setting. You might not have a skill tree in this game, but the wide range of items, skills and build options make it worth a try, or at least worth keeping an eye on as it continues to evolve.